So, the NBA season has come to a conclusion. Playoff seeding is just about set. Um, the Eastern Conference playoff picture is set as of this recording. Last I saw, the Orlando Magic were blowing the Charlotte Hornets out. I just want to see what the score is real quick. It's 91-66. The game is over for all intents and purposes. There's still a quarter left, but the way that Charlotte is playing, the way that they've been playing, and the way that the Magic are playing is polar opposites. Orlando is probably going to slot into the eighth seed in the Eastern Conference, and then the playoff picture will be officially set. Warriors Suns will play tonight to flesh out the Western Conference, and then the playoffs will begin tomorrow afternoon. But this segment is really about the 76ers as they get ready for their playoff series against the Boston Celtics. Now, just as a quick recap, the Sixers, following last year, they came into this season with very low expectations. Me personally, I feel like with the start of each new season, there's always a chance for anybody, and anybody can come out of the can make it to the finals. Anybody is capable of doing that. Anybody is capable of having a worst to first kind of season. So I would be lying if I said that I thought that the Sixers, or if I would be lying if I said that, the Sixers had a good chance. But at the very least, I did think that they would be better than they were last year when they went 24-58. And they were. And in a lot of ways, the Sixers, with the kind of success that they've had this year, they're playing with house money. At least for, the players. Having Paul George healthy for a lot of the season, that's been big for us, even though he did miss that chunk of time with the substance abuse, which is still crazy. I don't know how that actually went down, but having him healthy and Tyrese Maxey really taking hold of a stranglehold of the leader of the team, the official leader, making the All-Star. VJ Edgecombe, I feel like he probably won't get Rookie of the Year. Con Knuppel will probably get that. But VJ Edgecombe was certainly a big part of why the Sixers made it to the playoffs this year. Drafted him 3 overall. He's been, for a rookie, he's been everything that we could have hoped for. And the other guys too, the other supplementary guys like Quentin Grimes, Adem Bona, Dominic Barlow, Kelly Oubre, and Joel Embiid. I'm not gonna disrespect Joel Embiid. He has missed a lot of time this year, but when he's on the floor, we see just how good he is. Even at 32 years old, we see just how capable Joel is of taking over a game. So we had our ups and downs throughout the season. It was some good, some bad, some in between. But at the end of the day, you want a chance to compete. You want a chance. You want an opportunity. That's all you can ask for. You want to be playing basketball beyond Game 82, beyond the play-in tournament. Now, the Sixers fell to a play-in spot, but they won their game convincingly against the aforementioned Orlando Magic. It was nip and tuck for for a little bit there, but they were able to eventually pull away and lock up that 7 seed. So all in all, the season, coming off of what it was last year, the season was a success. The season was a success given the circumstances, given the fact that we still have a young team, given the fact that we are, still trying to find our way. We have 2 young superstars that we can build around. Well, I won't call VJ a superstar yet, or even Maxey. We have two young studs that we can build around, and the vibes are good in the locker room. Everybody's having fun. Everyone's playing loose, and they're feeling confident, I'm sure, going into the playoffs, and they should. I mean, they worked hard to get to this spot. 7 seeds in the playoffs generally don't have a lot of success, but we don't know what can happen. You never know what can happen. So the Sixers, right now, they're in a good place. They're in a very good spot, and I love what I'm seeing from them. Just the overall enthusiasm and joy that they have playing basketball, playing with each other. It's a really good feeling. Our record was, what was our record? I don't remember our exact record right now. Just give me a second to find it. No, that's not it. Our record was 45-37. So about a 20-game difference from last year. And again, expectations were probably pretty low for a lot of people. A lot of folks didn't have us getting into the playoffs, but we've exceeded expectations given what it was in the past. So I'm proud of that. For in that sense, I consider the season to be a success, and this is something that we can build on going forward. Now, as we turn the page to the playoffs, we're going to have to face a familiar foe, and I'm just accepting it that in order for us to get to where we want to go, in order for us to have a chance to compete for a championship, we're going to have to get through the Boston Celtics at some point in the season. I mean, that's just how it is. And that's our opponent this first round. The Boston Celtics. That's how our season began, playing against the Boston Celtics. That's how their season began, playing against the 76ers. And that's how it's going to end for somebody. That's how it's going to end. One of these two teams is going to lose. Will have played one of their biggest rivals on opening night of the 25-26 season, and one of these two teams will lose to their rivals and that will be their last game of the year. Now, everyone who has an opinion, everyone whose voice mattered, everyone who's a pundit is picking the Boston Celtics to win this series. And I mean, listen, I will give them that. The Celtics have the Sixers number in pretty much just about everything, in every category that matters. They have more talent than we do. They have a deeper bench than we do. Their second unit is probably good enough to match up with most teams' first units in the league. So they have that. They have championship experience. Let's not forget that just 2 years ago, the Celtics were NBA champions. The Celtics were NBA champions, and 2 years before that, they were playing in their first finals. This iteration of the Boston Celtics was playing in their first NBA finals back when they had Ime Udoka as the head coach. So they have the championship pedigree. They have the home court advantage, which they have had pretty much every time we play the Celtics. They have home court advantage, so their fans are going to be showing out. They have the edge in coaching. I mean, let's just keep it real. Joe Mazzulla clears Nick Nurse in coaching. I mean, he just does. So the Celtics really have the Sixers every which way that you look at it. The Celtics on paper are better than the Sixers, and a lot of people are picking the Celtics to win this series. A gentleman's sweep, Celtics in 5. Maybe a sweep, period. Everyone's going to be picking the Celtics to beat the Sixers. And I get it for all the reasons that I listed, and probably for many others that I can't think of. The Celtics, on paper, should win this series. But you know me. If you don't know me, I'm a Sixers fan. And anytime any of my Philadelphia teams are involved in any kind of competitive arena, anytime we're pitted up against somebody, especially someone who's statistically, physically, anything else better than us, I'm never going to not give my guys a chance. I'm not wired that way. I'm always going to give my guys the benefit of the doubt. I'm always going to give them a fighting chance to win anything. All right? I felt that way when the Eagles were competing in Super Bowls. Every Super Bowl that I've watched, all 5 of them. Let me see. We won in 2004, 17, 22, 24. So all 4 Super Bowls that I watched the Eagles play in, I've expected them to go out and win. They weren't favored in any of those Super Bowls, but I still felt like they could win. Every time when the Sixers played against the Lakers back in 2001, I knew that the Lakers were far head and shoulders more talented than we were, but I still thought that they could win. Same with the Phillies. A couple of years ago when they played against Houston in the World Series, when they played in those World Series back in the late 2000s, I felt like they could win. Point being, I always feel like my squad is going to win. I'm not going to pick against my squad. That's not how I roll. And I feel that same way with the Sixers. This year's Sixers. Yes, I know we're the 7th seed. Yes, I know we're out home courted and outmatched in pretty much everything that you look at. But I'm always going to go with my guys. I'm always going to pick my guys. And that's that. I feel like we have a chance. Now, I will say this, out of respect for the Celtics, the series probably will go 7 because the Celtics are just so good. You're not going to beat them in 5 games when they're at full strength. Last year, they were beaten by the Knicks in 6 games, but that was because Jason Tatum blew his Achilles out during the playoff matchup. And so that was something that the Knicks took advantage of. I don't expect any kind of freak injury for the Celtics or to their 2 stars, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. This is going to be a hard-fought series, and the Sixers are going to have to win this one probably in 7 games. They're for sure going to have to win at least 2 in Boston in order to have a chance in this series. They're going to have to win at least 2 in Boston, maybe 3, including that winner take all game in 7. I think that the series will go 7 games, and it's going to have to go 7 games for the Sixers to win. The only way that I could see the Sixers winning this game, because I don't think that they'll win in 5. That's that's almost asking the impossible. I don't think that the Sixers will win in 5. The only way that I could see the Sixers winning this series in 6 games is if the Sixers take both games 3 and 4 at home. That's the only way that I could see them doing it. And it's hard to take. I mean, Boston's just as good a road team as they are a home team. Listen, they were the 2nd seed for a reason, man. It's going to be a tall task for the Sixers to take both games at home. But if they do, I think that they've got a chance to win this game, to win this series in 6 games. But that's the only way that I can do it. Otherwise, they're going to have to win multiple games at TD Garden. And the Celtics, like I said, they clear us in pretty much every category, in every meaningful stat category, box score. They have the advantage over us. The only way that we're probably going to have to win this series, we're going to have to hustle, grit, scrappiness, determination. We might have to get down and dirty with it, man. We might have to get down and dirty with it. Loose balls, scrappiness, chippiness, try to get inside their head a little bit. Listen, this is Celtics Sixers, man. This is one of the more storied rivals in all of basketball. Celtics and Sixers, they go back. They go back to, Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird and Dr. J. Larry Bird and Charles Barkley, when Charles Barkley was still fresh on the Sixers. You have some of those iconic images of the Sixers and Celtics players throwing hands in the middle of the court. Larry Bird and Dr. J swinging at each other during the game back in the 80s. This is Celtics Sixers. People pay to see that. That's a playoff. Other than the Lakers, Celtics' biggest rival is the Philadelphia 76ers. And this is just as another layer to it, to their storied playoff history. Now, the last couple of times that we played the Celtics in the playoffs, it's been all Boston. In 2002, Celtics win. In 2018, Celtics win. The bubble year, Celtics win. 2023, where we blew the 3-2 lead, Celtics win. I mean, at some point, the Sixers are going to have to get over the hump and beat the Celtics in order to get to where they want to go. That's all there is to it, man. The Sixers are going to have to climb over a bruised and battered, dead Celtic corpse in order to get to the next round. And the Sixers are going to be probably on the brink of death themselves in order to do it. I mean, that's just how it is. The Sixers are going to have to win at least 2 games in Boston, and they're going to have to do it by being scrappy and chippy and willing to shed some blood in order to get it. This is going to be hard fought, and because if they don't do it, then the Celtics are probably going to wipe the floor with us. The Sixers are going to have to do the little things, and they're going to have to do them well, and they're going to have to do them consistently. So those bench guys that I mentioned before, like Dominic Barlow, Quentin Grimes, Andre Drummond, Adem Bona. Who knows? We might even have to, get a Kyle Lowry sighting in order for us to do it. We're going to need everybody, and everybody's going to have to contribute. It can't just be Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe and Paul George, carrying the load. We're going to need everybody. Joel Embiid is probably not going to be ready for the start of this series, and there's a chance that he may not play in this series at all after his emergency appendicitis, however it is you pronounce it. So it's gonna take a collective effort in order for us to get this done, and for us to overcome those green nightmares that's been plaguing us over the last 20 years, or for the better part of the last 20 years. It's something that we've got to do. And that's all there is to it. It's not going to be easy, for sure. It is not going to be easy. Playing against the Celtics and trying to beat them in a playoff series is not for the faint of heart, man. Make no mistake, this is going to be a slugfest. And it's going to be a slugfest because that's what we're going to have to make it in order to win, in order to have a chance. No one's picking us to win. No one's expecting us to win. A game, if that, and to them, that's being generous. They're probably being nice by saying that the Sixers will win one game. But not me. I'm giving my boys a chance to go the distance in Game 7 or 2 Game 7, and then when it gets to Game 7, man, anything can happen. Last time we played a Game 7 in a playoff series was in Boston back in 23, MVP Joel Embiid year, and we just totally wet the bed. We had James Harden, we had Embiid. The two of them combined for like 20-something points in a pivotal Game 7. Everything lined up for us. We had won at least 2 on their home floor. We had the game, we had the series on our home court, and we just totally wet the bed. And then that turned out to be Doc Rivers' last game coaching for us. Another game that he was unable to close out. And I remember that because that was the weekend of my grandfather's funeral. I went to South Carolina for my grandfather's funeral, and then to add insult to injury, I have to come out of my grandfather's funeral and watch that train wreck of a Game 7. This year, this go round, the vibes are a little bit different. We have a lot more energy on the team. Kelly Oubre, VJ Edgecombe, Quentin Grimes. These are guys that I think can really help to bring an edge to the series. Keep in mind, we split the season series with Boston this year. Now, granted, they didn't have Jason Tatum, but nevertheless, we took 2 from Boston. They took 2 from us, but we took 2 from them. And if I recall, one of those games was a cup game where the Celtics beat us by 1 point. So we could have easily had them 3-1 this series. But of course, playoff basketball is different. The stakes are much higher. The intensity is much higher. So what happened in the regular season is in the past. It's time to focus on these next 7 games or however long it goes. I think it's going to have to go 7, and I think that I'm going with the Sixers in 7 to win this series. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be long. It's going to be painful. It's going to be drawn out. It's going to be all of the above, and both fan bases are going to be into it. That's what's going to make for such a great playoff atmosphere. So that's my call. The Sixers are going to have to do all the little things right, and they're going to have to do them consistently. They're going to have to do it in Game 1, in Game 2, Game 3, and so forth until the series is over, with them coming out on top. It's not going to be easy. Like I said, it's not going to be easy, but it hasn't been easy for us to this point. So we shouldn't expect anything different. Sixers in 7. We're not expected. We're not favored. We won't be favored for the duration of the time that we remain in the playoffs. But doggone it, I'm not going against my boys. I'm always going to pick my squad against anybody. That's just how I am. That's just my competitive juices flowing, and that's how I'm always going to be. I'm always going to go with my guys. Against, I don't care who the opponent is. I'm always going to pick my squad against the house. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It should be a good series. There's a lot of good series in this playoff go round, and I'll talk more about those later. But I wanted to get my thoughts on Sixers Celtics out of the way, and what I think that the squad needs to do in order to win the game. We'll see what happens. The first game is Sunday at 1:00, and we'll see what happens. It's going to be exciting. Playoff basketball is finally here, though. The grind and drudgery and the at times attrition of the NBA regular season is over. Now the playoffs start. Now the fun really begins. What everybody wanted to see is finally here, and it should be a good series. I'm looking forward to not just the Sixers and Celtics, but the rest of the series around the association as this march to the